and welcome to the Decrypting Crypto series here on Gold, Goats, and Guns. My name is Tom Luongo, as always, and this is going to be a series of videos. It's a collaboration between myself and Crypto Rich, who's a regular viewer of the channel, and he contacted me and said, hey, would you like to do a collaboration on cryptocurrencies? I went, that sounds like a great idea. Since I have a lot of background in crypto, I just haven't been doing a lot of it recently. The bear market's not been something that's something that has made crypto to me really fascinating at this moment in time, considering how absolutely dominant and imperative, how much of an imperative geopolitical events have been, certainly over the last 6 to 9 months. But that's beginning to change. I'm really beginning to see different some different price action in the crypto markets, and therefore I think it's time that we sit down and really start to get a handle on what crypto is, what it could be, and what it should be. And to that end, you can support this channel by supporting and installing the Brave browser and earning BAT or BAT attention tokens or Brave attention tokens for doing your normal everyday business on the internet as a way of beginning to get your way into crypto and get your head wrapped around it. I think it would be a really good thing. And that's what this talk is about today. So sit back, enjoy the show, and this will be going out on both my channel here and on Crypto Rich's, and I heartily recommend that you subscribe to his channel as well. So y'all take care, enjoy the show, and as always, keep your stick on the ice.
Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. I am very, very pleased and happy to have a very, very different guest on my channel. And Tom is very different, and we're going to find out why he's very different. And he's different in good ways, by the way. At least I think so. Before I go any further, I want to let you know this is not investment advice. Do your own due diligence. Do not invest any more than you can afford to lose. All I'm doing in this video and all my other videos is sharing with you what I'm discovering as I travel along on the blockchain. Now, this video is going to go out on my channel, and it's also going to be posted on Tom's channel, which I'll link to in the description below. All the links will be in the description below. Tom Luongo, that's his YouTube channel. Tom, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tom Luongo. I am the publisher of Gold, Goats, and Guns. It's an investment newsletter and blog that focuses on geopolitics, culture, cryptocurrencies, financial analysis, and whatnot. I write regularly for sites such as Strategic Culture and moneyandmarkets.com, as well as a former newsletter editor over at Newsmax. You can follow me on Twitter at TFL1728, and you can follow my blog at tomluongo.me. So, and then you can also, if any of this is interesting to you, I have an investment newsletter called Gold, Goats, and Guns, which takes all of this stuff and wraps it into a neat portfolio thesis, focusing on cryptos, big geopolitical trends, and the big macro picture as to what's happening on the eve of what I think is a brewing sovereign debt and financial crisis. So.
Oh yes. Now, do you want to start the video as if it was on your channel as well? Do you want to do that? Invite.
No, that's pretty much what I would say anyway. So
okay.
So
okay, for everybody who's watching, Tom and I, we had a preliminary conversation a few days ago, and now we're just going to play it by ear. This video is going to go out on your channel before it goes out on my channel, I found you, Tom, because I found you through Zero Hedge. So I've been reading Zero Hedge for many, many years, and then one day there was a link to an article which led to a YouTube of yours, and I went through that because I was interested in what it was about. I can't remember what it was about, right? And I thought, this guy has got a really small channel, and how come Zero Hedge have got him? Why is that? And that got me curious, and then I listened to stuff and I subscribed, and I like what you do. I like your coverage, and like I said to you, I don't agree with everything you say, right? But I like the analysis and the perspective that you offer. And as someone who's in Britain and impacted by what's happening in the European Union and also by Brexit, I appreciate the perspective that you offer, because what I've got here is the Guardian and the BBC and the Daily Mail.
So we have the Washington Post, the New York Times, and CNN. It isn't that much better. If not, I'm not sure which is actually worse at this point because they all work for the intelligence agency. So it's not, especially after what we saw yesterday with Facebook banning, Paul Joseph Watson and Milo and all these people, and a pure political hit job as they prep for the Orwellian information sweep in preparation for the 2020 election here in the United States. So it's going to be. It's just going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately, which is why I think our discussion today about getting people to understand the basics of blockchain, basics of crypto, because I think it's going to be more and more important for content creators. Really, as I start to think about it, I was thinking about this morning while I was milking my goats and getting prepared for this. I'm like, yeah, we really need to, it's no longer about, well, in the future, it's going to get worse. No, it's right here. It's in front of us right now. And we really need to start thinking about how can we minimize our interaction with and our need for our national currencies, be it the British pound in your case, or the US dollar in my case, or the euro for whomever. And because at some point, we're going to be under a system where, as I just saw this morning, the SEC here in the United States is allowing MasterCard to go forward with having a review board that can cut people off from access to their payment system and their payment network based on their political views. And so it's here. We now have an Orwellian panopticon and a Chinese social credit score system vis-a-vis MasterCard. So if you're not prepared to be able to get around that and start thinking of yourself, if you're a political dissident in any way, manner, shape, or form, you really have to start thinking of yourself, well, look at how they're treating Russia, look at how they're treating Iran, look at how they're treating Venezuela or anybody else that says no to all of this. You have to really start thinking about yourself in those same tones. You're Alex Jones now. You're whomever, and your Gab, for example. Yeah. And I think it's important that we understand that, and it's no longer off into the future, it's now here. And so I know you and I both have been in crypto for a long, long time. And I still even kind of stick at the edge of it, right? Mm-hmm. A little bit. I still I toe dip in, but I don't actually use it on a daily basis. And I think that something that we really need to start looking at and seriously, and then start. One of the things I would love to do with whatever we do as we go forward, Rich, is to really talk to people about how what projects are out there that can minimize the barrier to entry, minimize the cost for them to switch platforms and to switch off. So, if they're using Facebook currently, they should be switching over to Minds. If they're using Twitter currently, they should be moving over to something else. Or, if they're browsing with Chrome, they should move over to Brave. Those kinds of things. We need to really start explaining to people that the switch isn't that hard, that there's a lot of these crypto projects have really moved the incentives around properly and made it much easier for us to make those switches and start de-dollarizing our own, or in your case, de-pounding, which is a terrible phrase, by the way.
De-fiating. But Tom, I didn't know about the MasterCard thing, and it is shocking, right?
Yeah, it is. I think this is brand new news this morning.
This is where Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies can give us freedom, because governments can't stop them. I want to say a few things, because for your viewers, many of whom may not be au fait or familiar with cryptocurrencies, given that yours is mostly a news and analysis channel, and I don't do any news and analysis really on my channel at all, right? But and then I think the pitfall for you and I is that I think we're both very comfortable with Bitcoin and how it works and using it and get it. And for people who are new to this, it is a whole other paradigm.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like gold and silver, and it's not like fiat.
Well, even gold and silver is actually, to be honest with you, I've been in the gold thing for a long time. Remember, gold, goats, and guns. And there's a reason why all those three things exist in that order, and why they, those are all metaphors, by the way. And we'll talk about that in the future. But even gold is actually really hard to transact in. It exists. We know that it's savings. But is it really, it's not money. We can't use it as money per se. You can't go and buy candy bars or liquor or cars or whatever with gold. People look at you like you got four heads. No, dude, I want dollars. But Bitcoin actually, and the crypto industry, while the terminology, which I think, and the terminology, wallets, keys, JSON, all of this stuff, this crazy distributed ledger, all this stuff, that's the big barrier to entry to wrap your head around. But really, at the end of the day, it's no different than PayPal, except that you have to go click, enter yes, I want to send money. Here's the account I'm sending it to, and it's a string of numbers.
Yeah.
And you're sending it into the void, into the string of numbers, and that just doesn't feel right, as opposed to sending it to somebody's email address or to somebody's Telegram channel or whatever, or Twitter username or whatever they use it for, Facebook username, and it just feels more impersonal. But it's really exactly the same thing. And actually, it's just as simple. It's about maybe as complicated as doing a bank wire.
Sure.
Right. You have to get people two incomprehensible numbers: your account number and your routing number.
Yeah.
It's really, at the end of the day, it's not much more complicated than that.
Okay.
So if you think of it in those terms, then you break it down that way. Then all you have to do is learn the terminology, and once you're over that, then the intellectual barriers, I think, starts to melt away for people.
Yes. Okay. How about if I start by just saying a few essential characteristics of Bitcoin, which pretty much, because that was the first cryptocurrency, and it's true for pretty much all cryptocurrencies on a very general basis, right? And if anybody was going to go into cryptocurrency, then Bitcoin is the entry. It is the reserve currency of cryptocurrencies, and it is the entry point, and it is the granddaddy of them all. If you're just going to have one, have Bitcoin, I would say. Right?
Absolutely. Actually, I think I'm probably the first one that put that idea of Bitcoin being the reserve currency of the new crypto universe into the ether. Right. I wrote that article back in 2017, late 2017, actually, and it made the rounds. And I wrote 2 or 3 articles in support of that. Just saying, looking at a crypto version of Extra's Pyramid and all of that stuff. So but I agree with you completely, Rich. That's where people should start. Okay. If you can get into crypto through Bitcoin, then once you understand that, it doesn't get any harder than that.
Yes. So here are the essential features, the critical features of Bitcoin. So one is it's limited in supply. It's produced by a computer algorithm that cannot be altered.
Right.
And why it can't be altered is because there are thousands and thousands of copies floating about on the internet, and you'd have to alter all of them at the same time. Yep. It's just about impossible. Right? Yep. So it can't be, it's limited in supply, it can't be altered, it's not controlled by any one single entity.
Right.
And it can't be defrauded. You can't make copies of it.
Right. Well, you can. It's called the 51% attack.
Yes.
Right. Where you can take over 51% of the computing power of the Bitcoin network and therefore then double spend coins. The problem is, and this is why Bitcoin is now the reserve currency of the crypto space, is because the computing power necessary to push a 51% attack against Bitcoin is greater than the computing content of the planet, the computing capacity of the planet as of right now.
Yeah.
Because you have to do a brute force hack, and that's not possible. And so Bitcoin, from that perspective, is probably the most secure thing we have ever created as humans.
Yes.
It truly is, when you stop to look at it from that perspective, because even the gold that you've buried in your backyard isn't that secure, because, I mean, at the end of the day, the only way they can get it, the only way they can steal your Bitcoins is the same way they can steal your gold you buried in your backyard. They have to come to your house, beat you up until you give up the account number or you give up the location of the gold. That's it. So from that perspective, it's as, that's what they have to do to you. So it's as safe as that. You personally wind up being the single point of failure. Everything has a single point of failure, but that's that. So
So
I agree with all those things about what you just described with Bitcoin. Absolutely.
That's right. So it can't be replicated. I mean, it's nigh impossible. But the transactions are transparent. People can see them, and it is digital. It's just a set of pixels and that you see on the screen.
The way I described it when I first could remember, I think we talked about it the other day, and I know a lot of people, and my longtime subscribers know this because I did a lot of crypto talk back in 2017, early 2018, that I wrote my first article about Bitcoin back in 2010 for LouRockwell.com, explaining what I thought it was. And I remember being on the Bitcoin forums, the original Bitcoin forums, before there was even a Wikipedia page, right? So I've been in Bitcoin that long. Wow. I actually ran the 0.36 beta mining app on a computer and mined some coins back then. I got hit with a keylogger. I lost all my coins. It's over. But from that perspective, today, otherwise I would own my own private island, right? But what's important to understand is that we've yeah, we've just never created anything like this before. And I could see this coming, and why this is so incredibly important years ago. And we've been in this. You and I have been in this a long, long time. And to us, it's kind of, it's kind of obvious. It's almost what's the word I'm looking for? Trivial, right? To use this stuff. I know how to work with it. So
yeah. Okay, now if somebody wanted to buy Bitcoins, they could go to localbitcoins.com, and which is actually how I first bought it. I bought it off a guy in a bar. I went to localbitcoins.com,
nice.
And there are all these people, with they had like reviews of people who'd done trades with them and stuff, and I wanted to meet somebody in person to explain it to me. So I met this guy in a bar. He showed me how to set up a wallet, which is an account that holds the Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's really no different than a bank account.
Yeah, and I gave him my Bitcoin. I gave him my cash. He sent me some Bitcoin, and there it was in my wallet a few minutes later. So that's how that works. Yeah, and there are also exchanges like Coinbase and stuff, and they require different levels of KYC. There's no KYC for localbitcoins.com.
No, that's interesting. I don't know if it's available to Americans then, because I know Americans, we have a very hard. They have clamped down very hard here in the States about how you can get access to Bitcoin and whatnot, and shutting down like Visa payment cards and whatnot that have crept up over the years to convert Bitcoins into dollars, and you can spend them out. Almost all of those avenues have been cut off in the last year and a half or so. Coinbase is the most prevalent one here in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm on Coinbase. I have been, for a couple of years now. But the other way to get crypto, then, if you don't want to be that kind of person, you don't want to be, charted and numbered by the government here in the United States, is you'll have to earn tokens, and we'll talk about that. Earn tokens by other means, and then convert them through back channels to get them. We can talk about things like the Brave Attention Token and others that you can earn. Steam, for example, is another one.
Yeah.
That you can earn crypto in various ways without having to ever access dollars, and then build a portfolio that way. And you'll be doing it pennies at a time, but you'll be doing it.
Yes, absolutely. And then the other way you can get Bitcoin is through Bitcoin ATMs, and you can Google that where to find them. Yes. The commissions are much larger than with local Bitcoins or Coinbase, but they're anonymous. Yeah,
right. Yeah, we like anonymous. That's part of the thing about what Bitcoin, and we'll get into privacy coins and all this stuff later. But just to talk about Bitcoin, if no one knows your account and there's no record in the trail, the IP trail of the internet, right? All the IP routing and everything, they can trace that account number back to your IP address and your identity. Then Bitcoin can be as anonymous as any other coin. But you have to take pains to do that. And for the novice, I don't recommend that to start out with. What I recommend is just go get some, learn how to set up a wallet, learn how to manage a wallet, and decide whether or not you want to hold your Bitcoins locally in a piece of software or effectively on somebody's server, or do you want to hold the keys to your Bitcoins yourself locally in a hardware wallet, which is the equivalent of like burying your gold in your backyard.
Yeah. Right. And I would say cold storage. I would say wherever possible, hold the Bitcoin yourself. So the viewers, you and I will know this, right? So if I think of my email account, there's the email address, my email address, and then there's the password. And with Bitcoin and with cryptocurrencies, you have the public key, which is the equivalent to the email address, and then the private key, which is equivalent to the password.
Yes.
And I want to hold it. What I recommend is you hold it where the private key is with me and with nobody else. So that's on a hardware wallet or a wallet like Exodus, which is what I use for small amounts.
Right.
Or a paper wallet, but not in exchange. They get hacked, your money gets disappeared. Your gets disappeared.
No different than your brokerage, your stock brokerage, for example, going broke. Here in the United States, we worried about this. I worried about this during the 2008 financial crisis. Crypto has this bad rap of being insecure, and people, because it's a gold rush mentality. So, gold rush mentality, the scammers come out, in droves. And once you've passed that mentality, then we won't be in that state anymore, right? But it's really no different during a financial crisis. For example, you're an unsecured creditor of your bank as a depositor. A lot of people don't know this. y'all are in Europe, you have bail-in regulations in the European Union, which if the bank fails, the European Central Bank can seize the bank. And then take your deposit, and you as a deposit can take your funds to pay off the bank's creditors. No different. Or for example, what happened with what's that? The very famous one, the commodities exchange that went broke during 2008. Can't remember them off the top of my head. The name will come to me. John Corzine was involved, and they went broke. And what's that?
Was it Bear Stearns?
No. Well, Bear Stearns, there's a smaller one. God, it's right on the tip of my tongue, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It could be Bear Stearns, but Bear Stearns wound up getting sold for $2 a share, and everybody was made quote unquote whole, except the stockholders. But in your bank, or even if your brokerage goes belly up, your shares, if they're held in common name, right? They're held in your brokerage's name so that your brokers can lend them out to sell short and all these other things. You are at risk of them in a liquidity squeeze, them getting margin called. And because maybe their personal accounts are, their market maker accounts are busted. Guess what? They're going to seize your money. They're going to sell your stock. They're going to pay their debts, and they're going to go abscond to, some corner of the planet to be extradited by police, maybe, eventually, sort of. I don't know, maybe. And it may take you 10 or 15 years to get your money back out of the FDIC or, not in this case, the SIPC here in the United States or whatever, to be made whole again. You may be insured, but time value of money, baby. It may take you 15 years to get your retirement account. What do you do between now and then?
Yeah.
So there's always risk. I preach this all the time in my newsletter, and I preach it whenever I do financial analysis on my live streams, which doesn't happen often, because as often as I would like anymore, is to remind people that there's always what we call in the industry counterparty risk. Okay, which is that there's somebody on the other side of the transaction, whoever you're interacting with, there's always a risk that they could defraud you, abscond, just fail, and they could fail whenever. So a software wallet, right? Keeping your Bitcoins, for example, on Coinbase or in a software wallet. Yeah, the whole system could collapse, and you have to understand that your money is at risk. Yeah. Depending on how it's being held. So you want to always hold the private keys. They're not just the password. They're what tells the network that you're the owner of those coins. Those coins don't really exist. They're just a ledger entry in a big distributed database around the world. And the only one who can access that account and those ledger entries is the person with the private key, the person with the password. So if you control the private key, then you're the only one who has access to them. If you lose the private key,
gone.
Caveat emptor, you're in trouble.
Gone. Just like the password of my email account. Yeah. If I lose that,
there's no password recovery system with Bitcoin.
No,
none.
There isn't.
And that's flying without a net to a certain level. But like everything else, once you it's one of the things I tell people a lot is that when they get scared about this stuff, I said, go buy a small gold coin. Just go 20th ounce coin, 10th ounce coin, go spend $100 or $250, buy a 10th ounce coin, and then look at it and go, oh my God, that's worth $150 or $175. I lose this, it's gone. It's $175 gone, just like having cash. I'm like, have it. By the way, if you've not done that, I recommend you do it, because it's kind of like having a kid. The first time you hold a gold coin in your hand, you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And your whole demeanor changes. I'm not kidding. It's like the first time I ever got my own dog. It was the same kind of thing happened. You're like, yeah, this is kind of in my DNA, and this makes sense to me. We humans are wired to like gold, dogs, and babies, right?
And silver, shiny bits of silver.
And silver. No, don't get me wrong. Silver's good too, but gold is better. I used to walk around with 2 silver coins in my pocket when I was first trying to wean myself off of being bad with my money, right? And so I first got into gold and silver, first became a libertarian, all this stuff. I walked around with 2 silver coins in my pocket, and then said, am I willing to trade this for that? No. Put it in my pocket. Don't buy the candy bar. Back away from the countertop. Whatever the hell it was. I'm saying, I'm not going to do that. And it really began to click and really began to change my entire perspective, and at a functional level, right? This is now active learning. This is the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? motive, it's the tactile learning, right? You learn by doing with your hands. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. Put my hand back in my pocket. Works really well, by the way. But it's the same thing. And once you understand that, once you take responsibility for that small gold coin, then you can start to take true responsibility of your Bitcoins and everything else. The two go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
They really do. They really do.
Absolutely. And I'm loath to spend Bitcoin as I'm loath to spend gold or silver. Was it Gresham's law? Good money drives out bad. People want to spend the bad money first. Is that
Gresham's law? That's the popular soundbite version of it. The actual Gresham's law, and it's actually being an economist and being a money theorist. Overvalued money drives undervalued money out of circulation. You have to think of it that way. And that's bad money drives out good. That's the kind of the soundbite version, but it is that the dollar is overvalued. We don't value the dollar or the pound as much as we value this gold or the silver or this Bitcoin, and therefore it stays out of circulation. And it's the role of the central banks and the monetary system and everything else to continue to promote that idea, because they believe in the only way their system can function is an ever-increasing credit supply by hypothecating all these dollars, by levering up all these dollars or pounds or euros or euro dollars or whatever they are, and keep the circulation of them high and what they call money velocity high. And the problem at this point in the crypto community is that we really do perceive them to be undervalued.
Yeah.
And because we perceive them to be undervalued, they don't circulate as much as they should, and that is in many ways it is a real issue. As I just said, we just said, I'm loath to spend my Bitcoins, I'm loath to spend X, Y, and Z. Part of what we're going to discuss, I want to discuss over the course of this series of videos that you and I do, Rich, is to come up with and explain to people that no, you actually do want to spend some of them here and there, not just that there's cryptos that are your savings like gold and silver, but then there's the other ones that aren't. Those are the ones that are the equivalent of your digital dollars or your credit card or whatever. You want to use them. You want to circulate them, because that's what's going to break the control of the monetary system that is so monumentally unfair and so monumentally tyrannical.
Yeah, and that is going to happen because more and more infrastructure is going to get built. If I can move this on, and for people who are new to crypto, this is a very, very brief overview we're doing. You really do want to go to Google, go to YouTube, educate yourself. If you're going to buy Bitcoin,
leave comments below so that we know what to talk about the next time we get on the we get on a call together. Absolutely,
we're going to be doing more of these, right? Very good. And then also, when I first bought Bitcoin, it was my wife and I were like, okay, how much can we afford to forget about in pound terms?
Yes.
So we bought that much of Bitcoin. I was buying a little bit, pound cost averaging a few weeks over several months, and then we said, okay, that's it. We're not willing to lose any more. We didn't want to lose any of that, right? But we're willing to forget about it. And then so whatever that is for you, that's what I would recommend. If it's $100, $1,000, $10, whatever it is, just so enough, not so much that it's painful for you should it go to nothing.
No, absolutely. I recommend the same thing with gold or anything else. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I disagree with you with regards to gold and silver, though. I'll keep them.
I mean this very sincerely, and part of the portfolio strategy is I actually, if you sign up on my Patreon, for example, no matter what you sign up for, it's a tip jar, $1, or any of the other tiers that I have. The first issue of the newsletter explains the portfolio strategy, explains my mindset, right? To say, look, and that includes basic asset allocations. Like, you should not be investing until you have adequate savings.
Yes.
And you have to think of yourself, as I have to say, you have to be your quote unquote your own central bank. Sorry, I'm getting a text from somebody. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't my wife saying I've flipped the car. Please come save me. It's kind of important. I only get texts from like 3 people, so because I only get texts from about 3 people. But it's really important to understand that, yes, that the point is that you never risk any more than you're ever willing to. You always have to treat all of these things as penny stocks. It's the same way I tell people about gold exploration companies. These are bets. This is your Vegas money. This is your couch money. This is your found money. This is the money you're going to go to the 2-4 table at the Flamingo in Vegas and go play 2-4 limit hold'em and expect to have the pros take all your money from you, but as long as you were entertained for the evening and you got free whiskey along the way, hey, it was a good evening, right? Believe me, I've done that a few times, and yeah, they were $150 lessons, and I still had a fabulous time. It's like, if you can make $150 last 10 hours at the poker table in Vegas, you're not a bad player. And that's I walked away very happy having lost $150. So I learned a lot.
Okay.
But the same thing goes with any of these things, right? It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
You have to think of it in terms of this is, my loss. So the first thing you have to do, obviously, is pay down your debt and pay down what I like to call the synthetic demand for dollars, right? Your debt. That's or pounds in your case, or euros or whatever. But in my case, it's dollars. Get your dollar liabilities down as low as possible, and relative to your cash flow, relative to your disposable income, and then to start, okay, so what am I saving? Now I'm saving X percentage of my income every month. Well, there's no reason to just save in dollars. You should have, once you have a supply of dollars, that will keep you alive for 3 months or 4 months if you lose your job or whatever. Then at that point, you can start to diversify your holdings. You start to diversify into gold. You can take a $10 flyer or $20 flyer on Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever. It doesn't really matter. They're all very, very similar in terms of their structure. And then you go from there. And then you just start building a portfolio of assets over time. It really is the best way of going about it. And then after that, you can start thinking in terms of investments. And when I define investments as where you take counterparty risk. Okay, because savings, if of this kind, there's not much counterparty risk, right? There is, you bought gold, you bought Bitcoin, you bought dollars or pounds or whatever. It's you. I mean, your counterparty risk is, I guess, the global economy, but.
Yeah.
At that point, what do that's not a counterparty you have any control over whatsoever. But you do have control over your bank. You do have control over your credit card company or your stockbroker or whomever. So who you choose in those cases. So.
Okay. Now moving on. To ones with no barrier of entry. So I'm going to mention a few, and then you can mention a few that you know, right? So one of them, I don't have it open on my phone actually, is Electronium. And then what I'm going to do, Tom, I'm going to give you my link. You're going to use that link, and then you'll get a referral code.
Got it.
Right? And then you can post the referral code below your video. And then what happens is you download an app from the Play Store or iOS Store, install it on your phone, you open it once a week, and you will get Electronium coins dropped into your phone. Up to about $3 worth a month. Now, it's not a lot, but the idea is that, over time, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, the Electronium will be worth a whole lot more. And I've done a whole series of videos on my channel about Electronium, but it is designed for the unbanked to make it very, very easy to use. So I don't have the app open, right? So that's one.
Okay.
And zero barrier to entry. You get an app, money drops in.
Yeah.
Can't be bad, right? Then there's another one. Let me see if I can get it up. I'm going to share my screen. This is JSE coin. This is also, again, not a lot of value, and not a lot of people know about this one. This is, you actually can't see my screen. This uses, JavaScript in the browser to mine. And it doesn't do a lot. But again, I'll give you can get your own code for this. And I've just got it running all the time. Right. I'm doing browser mining through JSE coin. Let me just share my screen with you here. And then you can see what that's like. And again, I'll give you my code. And if you want to, you can post your code. Here it is. Here's the hash rate. Oh, I actually haven't started mining. I've got to click on that. So it's in my browser, in my Chrome browser. And I've just started. There are the hashes. Tiny, tiny amounts.
Yep.
Right? But they created the algorithm in such a way so it's not energy intensive.
Right. There's a lot of non-energy intensive forms of mining. Yes.
Yeah. Then there's this, which I think is going to be very, very promising. This is Tom Luongo's YouTube page, which is also very, very promising for different reasons. And it is this one, BitTube. So there's no barrier to entry to this one, and I get paid a few tube coins every single day just for browsing. It doesn't mine it; they get airdropped into my wallet. It's called airtime.
Right.
And so let me see. So you can see here the dark blue is time that I've spent that has earned me tubes. And also there's a low barrier to entry because people can also, I think they can buy BitTube through the browser. Either by wire transfer with crypto. Credit card hasn't come up yet. That's going to come up, and I've got an interview with JSE Coin and with BitTube coming up in the next few weeks or so. Let me see if I show you my wallet. I think a tube coin is about 4 cents right now. So I'm earning 12 cents a day, right? But you were earning Bitcoin when it was pennies.
I did. I remember trading Bitcoin. I was I think I was like user 37 at Mt. Gox.
Oh my God.
I remember giving him PayPal, $5 PayPal. Buy 200 coins at the time? They were trading for 5.5 cents a piece. That's serious. I was there when they got rejected from Wikipedia for not being real.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a crazy ride that this has been for me from that perspective. I remember there was a guy set up like an eBay for Bitcoin we're talking like, late 2010, early 2011. I sold an old video card for 200 Bitcoins, 200 Bitcoins, right? An old AMD video card. And like I had them and traded, we traded back and forth. And then, one day the wife clicked on the wrong link on my computer and we got a keylogger and they got into my Mt. Gox account and they were all gone. And it was, at the time, it was like, a couple hundred, 250 coins at $2.50 a piece. It wasn't a lot of money. But then, 2 years later, they were at 1,000.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
And
doesn't make me hate the industry. It makes me hate, I don't even angry about it. It just is what it is. It's a great story to constantly tell people that still think that the whole process is still worth your time. But it is, it does underscore the need to remember, relative security. But this was back in 2010. Windows wasn't nearly as secure browsing experience as it is today. So that's what it is.
Well, just on that, a couple of things that I do. I notice I haven't turned it on right now. Is I actually use a VPN to make sure that I'm secure. Right? Yep. I've just turned it on now. I don't always turn it on, but right now I'm at home. On public, I always use it. I've also got Malware Bytes, the malware protection.
Yeah, Malware Bytes is very good.
BitTube actually has a VPN as well, a built-in VPN.
Nice. That's actually a great value on its own. So that's part of the reason why I use the Opera browser before moving over to Brave, which we'll get into in a minute. But I like Opera because Opera has a number of really nice things about it. It's a little bit of a memory hog, but a resource hog. But the click on VPN, on-demand VPN is very, very nice.
Okay, very good. Well, here's the VPN. I've never used it because I've got the NordVPN one, right? So look, those are a few. Now there probably are more. So if you're watching, which are the other cryptocurrencies that you think have like no barrier to entry? You can just get them for nothing, just by using their applications or something.
Let's talk about the browser you have open right now. Let's talk about Brave.
Yeah. Now I actually haven't done anything with Brave, in terms of my account. I'm on the Brave.
All right, well, go ahead and click on the little Brave. Go ahead and click on the triangle.
Okay, click on the triangle.
That's. Go ahead and click on that.
By the way, I do have Brave attention tokens. I bought them about a year ago.
And then go ahead to reward settings. Yeah, just go ahead and pop that up and click on that as well. Okay, and what you'll see here. You haven't started. Yeah, you're here. So with Brave, if you have rewards turned on, okay?
Yeah.
The Brave browser blocks all trackers, all ads, everything, right? Facebook hates Brave, which is good because I just permanently deleted my Facebook account last night.
Wait a minute. They deleted it or you deleted it?
I did it.
Oh, you did it. Okay. Yeah, I'm not on Facebook. I've not been on Facebook for a few years.
I've been only holding it open for for the last few months for a variety of other reasons. But what you can do is when you opt into Brave Rewards, right, you can then set a rate at which you want to be served private ads. And they will come up as full page ads. You'll have the option to opt in. You'll get a notification either in the browser and Windows 10. It comes up as a Windows 10 notification in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, which you can freely ignore if you want. But if you click on it, the browser tab will open up. You'll get a private ad served to you based on your browsing habits and whatnot. And they'll give you, at this point, I think it's 0.05 BAT. The BATs are trading for about 39 cents. So you can have it set that'll send you anywhere from 2 to 5 ads per hour.
Right.
So you could be making anywhere from, 5 or like 2 to 10 cents an hour while you're browsing. Now, the better part about that is that as well, we as content creators and Brave can be a tipping platform as well. So you're earning these tokens, and you can then use it as if it were similar to something like Patreon or Medium or some other where you can tip content creators, or Minds, where you can tip content creators saying, I really like that article, I really like that video you get here, I've got some BAT, so when you open that back up, Rich, for example, if you go open that back up again.
I'm in right now. Where would you want me to go?
So go up to the triangle again, open up the drop down.
Yep.
Okay, you'll see. Oh, and put yourself on my YouTube channel when you do that. Sorry.
All right.
Because I'm registered, so you'll note that. Bingo. So when he opens that up, I'm a verified Brave publisher. You can now just automatically send me a tip if you want. If you have BAT in your account, you can then send me a tip directly. Tip me some amount. There's my name. There's my thing, and you can tip that. You can also make that a monthly recurring distribution if you want.
Okay.
And you can do all of that. And if you want, you can buy them directly.
Yep.
Right. So you can earn them with no barrier to entry, or you can just go ahead and, PayPal and some money, or credit card and some money. There's a wallet behind all of it that's handled through uphold.com. Mm-hmm. Is the Uphold wallet, which is a multi-currency wallet. But again, you can just transfer that stuff out to whatever other wallet you want. But that's where that's where your rewards will get dumped at the end of the month. This is a way for the best way this works. And there's Coinbase has actually got a partnership with them. They have a series of short videos where they explain how it works. But really, what's coming down here is that the advertisers are paying to serve Brave to serve you an ad, and if you accept the ad to be served to you, okay, then you get 70% of whatever they paid Brave for the ad. So Brave gets 30% of the ad revenue. You get 70%.
Wow.
Okay.
Which is switched around from Google.
Which is tremendous.
Yeah.
Right. Because right now Google takes like 99.5% of all the friggin' ad revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. And then because we take it one step further, you can then take that advertising and that revenue that the companies want to do ad spends on. Right. They want to advertise. So then you then have tokens that you can then use to convert into Bitcoins or convert into dollars and spend as you wish, or you can tip your favorite content creators and you can do what you want with them. And now none of us are beholden to Google for super chats, where they take 30% of your donation. You're not beholden to getting tracked because they blocks all of the tracking, thereby speeding up the browser experience so that your time is actually, you get your time back. And Brave very smartly tells you every time you open up a new window how much they've blocked and how much time approximately they've saved you, so that you can take 5 seconds or 10 seconds to go look at an ad.
Yeah.
And the whole system, I think this system has tremendous potential to revolutionize the way we look at ourselves in the digital space. We all look at the internet as this incredible value creation tool. It's incredible value add to our lives, and we're willing to pay for that.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is that we don't have to pay. We already pay for it, and we pay for it with our access fees, with our bandwidth fees. We should not have to then pay the advertisers on top of it to turn it into commercial television again of the 1960s here in the United States, or 1980s here in the United States, which is insane, where we get to watch a little bit of content and then there's an ad and then and they've just turned YouTube into into public television. It's terrible. And we're paying 18 different ways from Sunday, and we're not getting served what we want. And the advertisers and the platform generators are making all the money. And on top of everything else, they're mining all of our data.
Yes.
It's reprehensible when you really stop to think about it. So let's stop doing that, and let's stop empowering these people.
Yeah.
And I look at Brave and I go, wow. And then the other one to talk about from a similar perspective, I know Minds has a similar system, which is...
Tom, before we go on to Minds and something else, just tell me here with the rewards, what would I need to do to get it going? I have Brave Attention Token. I have it in an Ethereum wallet, so I've not connected it here.
So transfer it into, I think you would transfer it into your Uphold wallet, right? And once it's in your Uphold wallet, then it'll be available in your available for you here, right?
Okay, so here's the wallet address. I would send it to this address.
I haven't done this portion of it yet. I just started with Brave a couple of weeks ago as well, so I'm still waiting for my initial donations, because what happened was I wasn't even going to do it until one of my viewers on YouTube said, dude, I sent you a tip on Brave, go install it so you can collect it. And I'm going to start doing the exact same thing with my early tips. I'm going to send them around to the content creators who I follow, right, who are not on Brave and not verified publishers, like guys like Suspicious Observers and others. And I'm like, I'm just going to send them $2 or $3 and go claim it. If you don't claim it, fine. It's
very good. And then there's something I want
nothing incentivizes people more than going picking up free money off the ground.
Here's some free money, right? Let me see if I can close this off. Here we go. Which is tubes. I can donate tubes to you. This way, and it automatically opens a tubes account for you. I've never actually done that.
Oh wow!
So then you get another way of earning. And also being tipped. So Brave tips, Brave Attention Token, and also tubes. Although that isn't working right now for some reason. Okay,
that's fine.
Let's move on.
It's not important for us. Not important for us to work out the technical details of this.
Yeah.
While we're live.
Do you want to show me? We got about 5-10 minutes left. Do you want to show me about Minds or something, or shall we go on to Brexit? What do you want to do?
I don't want to. I don't want to let's not belabor the point on this one. There's just to say that there's Minds and there's Steemit.com and there's others that are trying to replace Facebook. Like Minds is a Facebook replacement. Steem is a Reddit or Medium. It's really more of like a Reddit replacement. That kind of interface that you post, you post there, and then there's no barrier to entry. You just make an account, and then you if you like or retweet stuff, and curate material, the blockchain generates tokens, which then get distributed via the reward pool. That's generated on a regular basis. The supply of the tokens is regulated by an algorithm. It's not mined in the same way that Bitcoin is. It's a little different system, which we'll get into the difference between proof of stake versus proof of work. But the whole idea behind Steem is that the incentives are there that all you have to do is do your normal behavior. You don't have to do anything else. You just do your normal behavior, and if you like something, click on it. They may get a penny. They may get 10 cents. Depending on how much power you have within the network will depend on how valuable your vote is.
Yeah. And
of course, at the same time, that's also the number of votes that you have for deciding how the network itself will develop, because you own it. You own the network.
Yeah.
Hold on.
One thing I want to say about Steem, Steem does require work. Now, it's worthwhile. It's work that I've never done, right? But with, I suppose, the advantage of JSC Coin, Electronium, the Brave browser, Tubes, there's really nothing to do other than installing the application, and then you start earning, right? So if you're watching this and you've got any ideas of other ones that have that sort of very low level of activity and and a zero level of threshold, then let us know in the description below. So this really is for people who want to get going with cryptocurrency, because you can put them all together and then go and get yourself some Bitcoin.
Yep.
Now, I want to move this on a little bit, Tom. I
Sure.
really, really do appreciate it. And what we're about to talk about now, isn't what I cover on my channel as a rule, but it's something that's very, very important to me, especially because yesterday we had the local council elections, and I'm not in London. I'm near London. I'm not in London. I went and voted. And we got the European elections possibly in May, and we have Brexit.
Yes.
And we have
I think
Brexit.
I might be the most informed American on Brexit in the country.
Yes. Tom, can you...
I might be. I try, because I do try. Because I do believe that Brexit is the most important geopolitical event of the century.
Yes.
For a variety of reasons, which we don't have time to go into now, but I have covered it extensively on my channel in the past. Some of it right, some of it wrong, some of it, it's like everything else here. It's difficult. But how did you vote yesterday in your council election?
Yeah, in the council elections, there was Green, Labour, and Conservative.
Right.
I voted Labour, but I really ummed and ahed. Now, the Conservative, Green are Remain.
Yes.
Labour, Jeremy Corbyn, in his heart of hearts, is Brexit.
Yes, and the rest of Labour is Remain.
That's right. That's right. And most Labour voters, as far as I can gather, are Brexit.
Right.
But the MPs and the party members are Remain.
Yes.
So I was in a bit of a bind.
Sure.
Right. But in the end, I just voted
the Tories are right out there, Remain as well. They just won't admit it.
Yeah. And, well, yes. And do you know what I do? Is every day I go to The Guardian, which is a left of centre paper, and then I also go to the Daily Mail, which is a conservative paper, and I look at an article on Brexit and I read the comments, not necessarily the article, just to get a flavour of the mood. And the conservative voters are so incensed.
They are.
They are so incensed.
I know. They come into my channel, right? I pick up a lot of people. I mean, my channel had maybe 500-600 people before I started doing Brexit. Now I'm up to 2,500. Mostly because of Brexit, and a lot of Brits, you yourself and many others, have come in, and just to have a place to feel like, okay, somebody gets it. Yeah. I guess it's almost like commiseration, right? That's the way I feel sometimes when I see this wave of frustrated Britons come in to the channel. And I get it, I do, because we've been living in a similar sense with this 2.5 year slow motion coup against Donald Trump. Yeah. Not that I'm happy with the way Donald Trump is running his presidency or anything, but it's the same thing. We voted to do X, and they've said, no, you're not allowed to do X. We're going to still continue to do the A, B, and C, and D, and E, and F that you didn't want us to do. And it's the same thing's happening with Brexit, and it's terrible. But it's also creating the kind of voter backlash and the kind of voter or citizen anger that I don't think they quite understand. And the more Brits that I talk to, the more I get a sense of this. And I try to keep my enthusiasm, because hardcore libertarian people should be, governments of one, right? I want, you should be, Rich should be, his own freaking country, effectively, right? In my heart of hearts. But at the end of the day, they don't understand just how badly people don't want this to happen. They don't want this to be betrayed, and how angry they are and have not been listened to. And absolutely. It cuts across the entire political spectrum. It's like I could just get it that there's so many people who voted Remain, right, in the original referendum, that were okay, we lost, and we'll move on with our lives, and we'll make the best of this, even though we're not happy about it. Yeah, fine. And that, because we would prefer to continue to be consulted about our future. We can always try again 5 years from now, 10 years from now, to try and go back into the EU or something else. Or maybe the Labours will turn out to be right, and I was wrong, and that's fine. And that's the conversation that should be happening, and that's not the conversation that anybody in power actually wants. No. Because the EU is a 75 or almost 80-year project now to install a world government. It's a stalking horse for world government. Yeah. And it's a stalking horse for no cash, social credit system, a tyrannical Orwellian, completely controlled future of a technocratic corporatist oligarchy that you don't have a vote in.
Yep.
And that's an anathema to crypto.
Corporate government. Now, there's something I want to go back to that you said, right? And I want to ask you why, right? So I can get it.
Sure.
You said at the beginning, this is the most important geopolitical event of the century, right? Now, you're saying more important than the Iraq War, more important than 9/11, more important than, I don't know.
It's the culmination of a lot of those trends. It's also the fifth largest economy in the world and the center of the global financial markets, along with Wall Street, being cleaved from the political system, being cleaved from these are the same people. The people who are behind the political integration of Europe and the destruction of the political process here in the United States are the same people who control Wall Street, City of London, Frankfurt, yada, 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 and all the major financial centers. You cleave City of London from the EU, it changes everything. It will also usher in a period of political uncertainty that is unfortunately necessary at this point. It's like, I hate to sound like a permanent revolutionary Trotskyite when I say this, but the system is so broken, it's so corrupt, it's so unwieldy that we're beyond the point of being able to take it down. What's the word? To take it down without pain.
Yeah.
Painlessly. We can choose to do it voluntarily and peacefully through the ballot box, or we can do it through a world war.
Yeah, or through turmoil like what's happening in Greece.
Sure. Well, the impoverishment and rape of Greece, and I use that word without any sense of irony, is disgusting.
Absolutely. It is. The way I see it, you know, my parents were subjects of British colonial rule in India, right? And the way I see it is that now the banking system allows this sort of fiscal colonialism. We don't need to occupy Greece with our military forces and install local bureaucrats. No, we can just do it through the banking system. And you know, what we call the offshore dollar, euro dollar system, or the offshore shadow banking system. Yes, and Tom, we could talk about this for hours, right? But there's one last thing I got to say, right? One last thing.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
You did a video analysis on the situation in Italy that was I was so riveted and engaged with it. It was just incredible analysis and information. The whole thing about what Salvini is doing with the Italian gold, mind-boggling. So I just loved it. I learned so much from it, and what I really loved was how provocative it was. Like it could be that your sources are completely inaccurate. It could be that your conclusions are completely inaccurate.
My intuitions are off, or whatever.
Yeah,
sure.
But the thinking and how provocative it was. Plus, also, it's consistent with everything else I've read, certainly on Zero Hedge, about Italy and what Salvini and Matteo are doing. Right, and more power to their elbow.
Yeah, so to clue people in what we're talking about, I firmly believe that Matteo Salvini, the de facto leader of Italy at this point, understands that the only way to take Italy out of the EU, and that is ultimately his goal, or at least out of the euro, not the EU, but out of the euro, because that's what he has to do in order to save Italy as a political unit and as a functioning economy, is to first put the EU in the mode of the bad guy. They have to be the bad guy, and to prove to the Italian people who are scared of that change, because this is normal, and it's the same thing you guys are dealing with the hardcore Remainers in Britain. They're scared. People are naturally scared of upsetting the apple cart. Yeah. The apple cart might suck. The status quo might suck. But I understand it. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. And only when the costs of maintaining the status quo rise to an unacceptable level, when the frog doesn't realize he's being boiled until he's been cooked, right? Once that rises to a certain level, then everything gets crazy. Then they're willing to make that shift. Now, the problem is that most people have to get they have to get to a level where they're now literally willing to stage violent protests and we don't want that. We don't want it to rise to that level, but the powers that be that are trying to run all the system are absolutely always pushing us to that level, and then saying, how much are you willing to take before you rebel? And then we're going to put you down. And then we're going to do Catalonia in 2017, the yellow vests currently in France, yada, yada, yada. What Salvini is trying to do, I think, is he's trying to change the popular opinion in Italy over time through strategic confrontations over smaller issues with first the budget, then the European Council of Foreign Ministers, then this, then that. Stand for European parliamentary elections. Be the good soldier. No, say I want to reform the EU from within. All of these things in order to prove formable to a majority of Italians. Because why Greece's revolution failed in 2015 was because the Greeks themselves did not want to leave the euro, and neither did Alexis Tsipras, the prime minister. Varoufakis, the finance minister, understood what the deal was, and so did Wolfgang Schäuble, the German finance minister, and understood that this was what needed to be done. It was Angela Merkel who said absolutely not, and the whole thing is left them with, and so is left with Greece impoverished and literally a vassal state, and Salvini is looking at that going, no. And now they're looking at how Britain is being treated through Brexit, and Theresa May's withdrawal treaty is a surrender document. Nigel Farage is right about this. That puts you guys in a worse state than if you had just stayed in the EU in the first place. And that was the...
Tom, we could talk for hours. Nigel Farage, very, very canny politician. Very smart politician. And then also in Greece, what I think is likely to happen come October in the Greek elections, we're going to have the emergence of the fascistic Golden Dawn.
Unfortunately, yes. Because as Gerald Celente, who's not a guy I don't particularly like him all the time, but he has one statement bon mot that he pulls out all the time. When people lose everything, they freaking lose it.
They do, absolutely. What else have they got? The left has failed them, so they're going to go to the extreme.
And the guy whose phone call and my partner and good friend who called me earlier said, his Greek, and he said, never ever underestimate the fecklessness of Greek leftists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, he's Greek, his family, he's like first generation Greek, and, very much in part of the Greek community and has been to Greece and all of that stuff. He's like, don't underestimate these people. They're just terrible. Greek communists are just hopeless.
Okay. Well, on that joyful note, Tom.
Unfortunately, yeah. But the bigger question, the bigger picture is that tying all this back together, cryptos stand at they stand at the fulcrum by which we can slowly but surely affect, regardless of what they plan for us, slowly but surely affect a peaceful transformation. Because when you transform the money, you transform the society.
That's right. And it can't be stopped, and it takes away the power of the banksters. Now, let me just finish up then. So if you've subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to Tom's. If you subscribe to Tom's, please subscribe to mine. If you haven't subscribed to either, subscribe to both. Comments, what do you think of this? What would you like us to discuss next time Tom and I meet up? That we can cover privacy coins, we can cover other ways of entry into cryptocurrency, particular political topics, although there's just a handful that I focus on, right?
There's only a handful I focus on, because at the end of the day, I can't focus on everything.
That's right. I'm particularly interested in Europe and Brexit, of course, and I have followed the whole Russia collusion debate. I've just never covered it on my channel because my channel is about cryptocurrency. So anyway, all the relevant links in the description below. Tom, thank you so much. Oh, one thing I got to say is that over the weekend, when this gets posted on your channel and my channel, I will have done a video on a coin called Pirate Chain.
Right.
And Tom and I, at some point, are going to be talking about Pirate Chain, which, in my opinion, is the most secure, most private of all the privacy coins. So anyway,
and it's built on the best blockchain platform there is.
That's right. And you want to find out what that is by tuning in when Tom and I meet next and talk about cryptocurrencies. So everybody who's watching, thank you so much. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto Tom signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.